here for the details on my contest. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bargain Bandit. This is episode number 24, and today's date is November 20th, 2012. It's 2 days until Thanksgiving, so happy Gobble Day, everyone. I hope you have a great and thankful Thanksgiving. So this week I'm going to go over items that I have recently sold on eBay that I purchased at things like thrift stores and estate sales and yard sales and, you know, that sort of thing. Some things I had around the house this week that I'm like just trying to get rid of because you might as well. And so I'm going to go over those things, and then I'm going to go over my top 3 favorite picks from the past weekend, and then at the very end I will have a shout out to one of the YouTubers I enjoy watching. So stay tuned for that at the end of the show. And if you like my videos, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please be sure to go check out the Gal Picker Show here on YouTube. I'll have a link to that somewhere. And that is a daily show I do with the Highland Picker, Tracy, who she has her own channel, the Highland Picker, or Highland Picker. And you can check out our daily show. We do it Monday through Friday, except this week we're not doing it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because of the holiday. But we'll be back Monday with a live show at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. So be sure to check us out there. And without further ado, let's get on to the good stuff. This is what I've recently sold. The first item is something I already had around the house. I had bought it a while ago because I thought my kids would really get a kick out of it, and they did not. So we were going through some of their stuff a few months ago and found it, and I was like, well, I might as well sell it because the kids are never going to play it. And it's a game called Double Shutter. It's a game where you have to roll the dice and add up the numbers and then flip down the tiles that match, you know, whatever the numbers. So like say you roll an 11, you can flip down a 5 and a 6, or 7 and 4, 9 and 2, whatever. And it's got 2 rows of numbers versus just the one. So like Canoga, I sold a vintage Canoga game that's similar, only it had 1 row of numbers. This one's got 2, so it's twice the fun supposedly. But my kids were just not really that into it, and I didn't really see myself playing it either, so I decided to sell it. And I sold it, you know, I mean obviously I didn't get back what I paid for it, but considering we kind of count it as free because it was already here in my house, I did okay. This must have been the week for things that we had around the house to sell. The Double Shutter had actually been up for a while before it sold, but this next item sold really quickly, and it was a Christmas present from my child's grandmother. It was for my 6-year-old, and it was a Stinky the Garbage Truck. It was about yay big. It talked, it moved, it did all kinds of light effects. It was a neat item for a child who likes cars. Unfortunately, my kids are not into cars. They like guns, they like video games, they like zombies, they like wrestling, they like all kinds of interesting things, but not cars. But for a kid who's into cars, this is a really neat item, so I'm glad that it sold, and I'm glad we were able to give it to somebody who will actually appreciate it versus our child who it just sat in his closet for the last year. I've actually had a pretty good track record with hats. Almost every hat I've put up on sale for eBay has sold, and this is another hat that I sold. It was a child's Spider-Man hat. It was kind of neat. It just had Spidey's face on it with some webbing and some webbing on the cover, and it was a child's hat, but it sold, and you know, it was in pretty good condition. So most of the hats that I would buy are in good condition. I don't really want to have to clean and work too hard on a hat, although I have a couple that I've got stacked over there that I need to clean up. But for the most part, I try and buy hats when, you know, that look really good. But hats are actually a pretty easy sell. I have not had too much trouble selling my hats, which is kind of neat. So there's a pickup. But let me preface that with unique, interesting hats. You can get a sports hat, and if it's boring, you know, or doesn't have anything special about it, it's probably going to sit on your shelf for a while. Like a child Spider-Man hat is kind of a neat item. And some of the other stuff that I've sold are kind of neat items. So I look for unique, interesting hats versus, you know, your standard boring hats. The next 2 items I'm going to talk about were thrift store buys. And my husband, you know, he gets a little down on me sometimes when he sees we're not making so much off of these because we're paying more for the thrift store buys than I would at yard sales. But I have to explain to him that thrift store buys are easy. You just go into a thrift store, you see something, you buy it. There's no negotiation. They usually have many things that I can buy in one location. Thrift stores are easy to buy things from, whereas yard sales, you have to navigate to the yard sales, and you have to go to many, many sales usually before you find even one sale that's even halfway decent. So yard sale buys, I always try and get things for much cheaper than I would pay for at a thrift store. So that said, I'm still, I make profit off of everything I buy, even at thrift stores. So this first game is a game called Go For It, and it's kind of like a racing car game. And I didn't make much on it, considering, it's a vintage, older 1980s, early 1980s game. But the value on that one was not high. It doesn't have high demand, and there were a lot of people trying to sell it. So unfortunately, this was not like the greatest vintage game find ever. But it doesn't matter. I still made money on it, and that is really the key. Any game that has unique metal pieces is usually a pretty easy sell unless it's a Monopoly game. And this next game was, very easy sell. It wasn't up even a month, I think, before it sold. It's a game called Outrage, and the objective of Outrage was to steal the crown jewels. It was a game made in London, and it had these neat little metal pieces. It had coins. It had little knight thingies. It was a really fun looking game, where the whole objective was to try and steal the crown jewels, and they had replicas of all the crown jewels. It was included in the game, so it was kind of a neat. Got to break into the Tower of London and steal that crown. So it was a pretty easy sell. It was another thrift store buy, so I did pay more than I probably would have paid for it if I had bought it at a yard sale. But again, easy buy. And turns out easy sell. The last item I'm going to talk about is something that I bought quite a while ago but didn't put it up until just a few weeks ago because it's a Christmas type item, and it was a Christmas Story coffee mug. A Christmas Story is a movie that everybody should see. Talking to you, Tracy. Go see that movie. And it had like the wooden crate, and on the other side it said "Fragile," must be French. And it had like the leg was like the ugly lamp leg that from the movie. And it was in mint condition, had the box, never been used, so it was a great item. I did not pay much for it. It was at a sale that I bought some other things that I paid barely anything for. She was just really trying to get rid of stuff, so she was giving me really low prices on everything, which was great. I didn't even have to negotiate because her prices were so low. I love sales like that where they're like giving me completely reasonable prices that I am comfortable paying. And so this was, it wasn't up very long and it sold pretty quick. And it was just one of those things where I bought it knowing that I would be holding on to it for a couple of months until we got closer to the Christmas season, and it sold. And now for my top 3 favorite finds from the last weekend. I did not go out on Friday because of my migraine headache on Thursday caused by going through caffeine withdrawal, which I am happily off of, so I'm back to my normal bubbly self, and I am no longer going to be drinking caffeine if I can help it. I say that, but I always break, but we'll see how long this one lasts. So I'm off caffeine, and so Friday I had to stay home. I didn't get to go to sales because I had some work I had to finish. So Saturday I got up early and went to quite a few sales, and I also went to a thrift store, but all of this is from yard sales. So the first item I got at a yard sale where I picked up a couple of different Monopolies, and normally I do not buy Monopolies because they are they're a dime a dozen, just like Trivial Pursuits. Everybody's got one. But this one is in German. It's a German Monopoly. And it's got, Schloss, and Parkschloss. Everything's in German on the board. Das berühmte Gesellschaftsspiel. I like trying to speak German. And if you watch all my videos, every chance I get, I try and pronounce it, but I know I'm completely screwing it up. I did take German in college, but it did not stick. So, this is a German version of Monopoly, and I really like this copy because it's actually never been played, to the point that, the money still has the plastic ceiling all around it. You know, the little Monopoly figures are still sealed. The houses are still sealed in a bag. And yeah, you know, everything is just, you know, here's the Monopoly pieces, the deeds, and also they just have a rubber band around them. But also these are like the chance cards and the community chest cards. They look a little different. You can see the back of those are a little different than, you know, the American version. But like here's a deed. And that's what the back of the deed looks like. It's neat. It's a neat German copy of Monopoly, you know, produced in Germany. And I just couldn't pass it up. And especially because, you know, her price was only $1. For each game, I picked up a Waddington's Monopoly as well, which is the one produced in Great Britain. And the version I got was from 1986, so it was a little older than other Monopolies. This one is a much newer. This one is, oh, it's not. Ha! It looks so good. Like, the box looks so good that I thought it was a newer. But it turns out, looking at it right now, it is from 1985. The one big issue is there is a split corner. So there is a condition issue with the box. But like I said, the interior contents have never even been played. And the box, other than that, you know, it's got a couple little minor issues, got some shelfware. But it still looks pretty good for a game that is 28 years old, 27 years old. So that is definitely a cool find, my number one find from my top 3. The next item I got was at another yard sale where the woman was pricing a lot of her things pretty high, so I didn't think I'd actually find anything. But then I saw these, and she was willing to part with them for $3 for the pair. And these are the original redneck wine glasses. And they also have some like chocolates inside of them that I'm guessing that when they were given to her as a Christmas gift, the person put the chocolates inside of them. I don't think they came with them, but I'm just going to keep the chocolates in there. But these have never been used, still has like the tags on them. But this is what a redneck wine glass looks like. It's got the mason jar with the lid on the top, and then it's got a pretty thick wine stem. So it's a really solid, very solid construction. She said that her family did infomercial gifts every Christmas, because they all like had everything that they needed, so they didn't need, you know, like, so they just did fun infomercial gifts. And this was a gift that she'd gotten, you know, as part of that, and she just never, you know, even opened them up. They just, you know, stayed in her closet or whatever, so she finally decided to sell them. But yeah, they're the original redneck wine glasses, and by Carson. So kind of a neat item. I always buy things that I've never seen before that I think are unique, and that's one of those things. And it's actually worth some money, so I'll do okay on it. $3, you know, was more than I normally spend on an item, but I got 2, and you know, I'll make money on it. And then my third and final item was at another sale where it was an older man running the sale, and he had like really high prices on everything. But when I got over to the clothes, I'm like, how much do you want for these clothes? He's like $1 a piece. So when I saw this, and anybody who knows about the ugly Christmas sweater phenomenon knows that this is a really ugly Christmas sweater. You know, it's a pretty popular buy this time of year on eBay, so I'm hoping it'll sell. I think that both Annabella and the Paper Castle have shown ugly Christmas sweaters in their haul videos. So this is my ugly Christmas sweater. It's got these horribly ugly snowmen on the bottom, and then it's got these ridiculously doily-like snowflakes here, and it's got like some beading with little gold beading here. It's got like a ribbon sewn in going throughout the entire design. It's got snowflakes all up and down the arms. And what I probably think makes this sweater even uglier is it's got these ridiculous black X's all over the place on like all the corners. So, and down the center, this is a button-up sweater. And so down the center where the buttons are, you got these X's. And then at the base, I mean, like, I just look at that and go, why? Why would you put these horrible X's all throughout the design? And it's even in the center of the sweater here. It makes it so much uglier, which I guess is good, you know, for an ugly Christmas sweater. But it's a petite, small size sweater, and you know, I've got it listed now already. I already got this and the redneck wearing glasses listed. I was actually had a really productive day on Sunday and got a lot of stuff listed. Um, so and I have them at auction, so you know, we'll see how they do. It's my first ugly Christmas sweater, so wish me luck on that. And that is my top three. So this week's shout out goes to Brent over at Yo Unit Productions. He does a Monday night and Tuesday night show called Trash Talkin' Treasures. Monday night he usually has some kind of special guest or roundtable going on, and then Tuesday night it's just him and his friend Wally sitting around talking about the Monday night show and other things, answering viewer questions. So normally his show is amazing and incredible, and I'm kind of being a little selfish here and using this as my shout out this week because I will be on Trash Talkin' Treasures next Monday night. I will be in a roundtable joining a few other really interesting people. So please come watch us on the Yo Unit Productions channel next Monday night, and Brent will be a guest on my show with Tracy, the Gal Picker show for sale with Tracy and Stacy on Monday morning. So be sure to check out that and check out me with talking with Brent and on a round table type of thing on Monday evening. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's my first time guesting on another show, so it's kind of cool. So I will be on that. Anyway, Brent's show, Trash Talkin' Treasures, like I said, he usually has some special guest on Monday, some other YouTuber who does picking and has a unique perspective to offer. Tracy even went on it once, her unique perspective being that she primarily sells through Facebook, which is kind of neat. You know, so and he's had some really interesting guests. He had a toy collector on who talked about what a toy collector looks in for toys that he collects, which is always useful to us pickers. We always like to know what people are looking for, so it was kind of a neat show too. Don't watch last night's show. That's all I'm going to say about last night's show. But other than that, you know, his shows have always been fantastic, and so he is my shout out for this week. Thank you, Brent, and go check out O Unit Productions. Well, that's the show, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please like, and subscribe to my channel if you like this and the other videos I put together. I did have a couple of haul videos this weekend, and people seem to really like haul videos, so I'll be sure to keep those coming, as well as my regular Tuesday show, The Bargain Bandit. And then, of course, you can find me on Tracy the Gal Picker Show for sale with Tracy and Stacy. We have our own channel called the Gal Picker Show now. We were kind of going back and forth, and we were like, let's just make a channel for the Gal Picker Show. So we're going to have some fun special guests on there too coming up. So in addition to Brent, so that's going to be a fun show. And be sure to tune in live if you want to ask us questions, because we always leave a lot of time for viewer questions, and we just sit there and answer your questions and talk about, you know, various things. Like today, for example, we talked about tape products. You know, as a shipper, what kind of products do we use, and what do we enjoy, you know, what is the best products for us to use? And I, you know, gave my point of view, and then a couple other people chimed in with like agreements. So like, you know, even things like that, you know, like everything from A to Z we will talk about in our show. So be sure to tune in live for that if you want to ask any questions, or you can leave questions and we'll address them during the show. So thank you everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, question, all that good stuff, and I will see you next time, and you know, talk to you later. What do you think? Could I win a contest with this?